Well, welcome everybody. Here we are in lockdown Melbourne, speaking to everybody not only in Australia but also in lockdown New Zealand. I hope that by the time we're all watching this, perhaps we're allowed out and about a bit. Really excited time of the year when we announce the winner of the Michael Gifkins Prize. This is the 4th year that we've awarded the prize, and we're very, very proud to be associated with the New Zealand Society of Authors, and also to have the partnership of Michael's partner Anne and their son Andre. Michael died a few years ago, and we created this prize after his death, really to honour his contribution to books and writing, not just in New Zealand but also more widely throughout the world. If you didn't know him, Michael was a wonderful man. He had a great spirit and joy in life. He was himself a very gifted writer, and he brought that creativity to his work as a literary agent. It's always great fun to talk to Michael about books and writers, and he had that special gift of not only knowing how to talk to his writers and guiding them, but also how to talk to publishers. And if the Michael Gifkins Prize can honour his memory by doing what we would like it to do, which is to uncover the work of talented writers wherever they are, at whatever stage they are in their career, and to use that spotlight to give them a leg up in furthering their writing, in creating opportunities for them. I know that that's something that Michael's devoted a really significant part of his life to. So it is really a privilege and an honour to stay in touch with Michael and his family through the award. We're really thrilled with the three winners to date, and of course we're about to publish Gigi Fenster's A Good Winter. That's coming out just in, as I speak to you, a couple of weeks, and I can't wait for people to start reading this book. It's a somewhat terrifying story about 2 women, one of whom has just become a grandmother. They're great friends apparently, but it's the voice of the storyteller, one of the women, which becomes increasingly insistent and gets inside our heads. And as much as I would love to tell you what happens, it would ruin the book for all of you, so I'm not going to. But this is a formidable psychological thriller. Gigi Fenster has already got an illustrious publishing history. She's done several books already. She teaches in both law and creative writing, and we can't wait for her book to be out and about, and it's my pleasure to introduce her to you now.
Kia ora from Aotearoa, New Zealand. Aotearoa, where we are, like much of the world, in lockdown. So one good thing about lockdown, the reading. And the memes about reading. You've probably all seen those lockdown memes saying something like, reading gives us a place to go when we have to stay where we are. Or books take you somewhere when you can't go anywhere. I love those memes. I love them because they're true, because they echo something my mother's been telling me since I was about 5 years old, and because they seem to reflect what's going on in my life right now. A Good Winter is taking me places I had never imagined. And I'm so grateful. I'm grateful to the Gifkins Whānau for this life-changing award. Grateful to Nadine of Highspot for the hand-holding. Grateful to Jane, the extraordinary editor, who manages to combine the sharpest, most insightful eye with the gentlest, lightest touch. I'm grateful to Jessica Horrocks for this beautiful, disturbing cover. To Michael and Madeleine and Kate and Julia and. The text team has taken me and this book to the most exciting places, and all from my own dining room. To this year's winner of the Gifkins Award, my congratulations. Your book is in the best hands, and you're in for one hell of an adventure. Kia ora.
Congratulations again, Gigi, and I also especially want to mention Jess Horrocks for her fabulous jacket that she designed for A Good Winter, and also Jane Pearson for her sterling editorial work. It simply wouldn't be possible for this prize to happen without the assistants all year round of the New Zealand Society of Authors, and I want to mention Jenny Nagel and Claire Hill for all the work that they do to make sure that the prize is widely publicised, that authors everywhere know about it, and then in particular to manage the submission process and also to oversee the initial round of judging. And this year it was done by Paula Morris and Vanda Simon. We're very grateful to them for the preparation of the long list, which then comes to text for final judging. And I think the real honour in any award is not so much to be the winner, as lovely as that is, but to be shortlisted. And so I want to just mention briefly the 3 books that we did end up shortlisting this year. And they are Tom Baragwanath's Paper Cage, which is a really gripping literary thriller about a community in crisis and a woman who has to balance all the different parts of her life in order to find her way through. Tom lives in Paris, but he hails from Masterton. He's published short fiction in a number of venues and magazines, and he completed Paper Cage at the University of Kent in 2020. The second shortlisted novel I want to mention is Lightkeeping by Adrian Jansen, which, as its title suggests, is set in the context of a lighthouse and its portrayal, multi-generational portrayal of a family whose lives are deeply embedded in the life of that lighthouse. Adrian is a widely published author, and she founded the Witerea creative writing program. She's also a publisher, and she's got a press called Landing Press, which publishes lots of poetry. And finally, last but not least, Sue Macaulay wrote a novel called Landed, which she entered and we shortlisted. It's set in the 1980s as the backdrop of a woman who has to rebuild her life after her husband's suicide. And again, Sue is widely published in New Zealand. She's written for many different venues and forums, for radio, TV, stage, and she's published a number of novels and short story collections. So congratulations to all of those writers, congratulations to the authors who entered, but in particular to those who are shortlisted. I think one of the things that we want the prize to do is to encourage people to say, all right, I've always wanted to write a novel, now I'm going to write a novel, I've got a deadline, it's the entry date for the prize, and we'll see what happens. We run another prize of text for writing for children and young adults called the Text Prize. That's been going now for maybe 12 years and perhaps even longer. And I do know that some of the books that have done really well in the prize were written in order to be entered for the prize. So we're really providing writers with an extra avenue to market. Of course, lots of writers want to look for publication in a conventional way, but manuscript prizes are exciting and unexpected, and all sorts of wonderful things can come out of them. So it's now my pleasure and honour to introduce Mandy Hagar, who is going to announce the winner of the Michael Gifkins Prize for 2021. Mandy is a widely published author. She's done several dozen books and every kind of book. She's won and been shortlisted for many awards, and of course lots of people watching this now will know in particular her book Singing Home the Whale, which won the Margaret May Book of the Year award. She is rightly considered one of the most celebrated New Zealand authors, and it's my pleasure to introduce her to you now.
Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa, ko Mandy Hagar aho, ko te timuaki o te Puni Kaituhi o Aotearoa. NZSA is delighted we are to partner with Text Publishing for the Gifkins Prize, and what a great opportunity it presents for an emerging New Zealand writer. This year, the winner of the 2021 Michael Gifkins Prize for an unpublished novel goes to Tom Baragwanath, with many congratulations for his novel Paper Cage. Kia ora and congratulations.
Kia ora tātou. It is my absolute pleasure to accept the Michael Gifkins Award. I wish I could be with you in person to express just how thrilling this is as a novice writer. I never had the chance to meet Michael, but I understand him to have been a kind and generous teacher and friend. I can only hope to produce something that would have kept him at least halfway interested in this book. Thank you very much to Anne Hatherley, Andre Gifkins, and the wider Gifkins whānau for your generosity. Having lived in Paris for the last 4 years, I've often caught myself wondering what exactly is going on at the Masterton roast shop right now. And so writing Paper Cage has given me a chance to place my feet on the ground in the place I love and which eludes me so much. Thanks to Michael Hayward, Mandy Brett, and everyone else at Text Publishing for seeing something worthwhile in it. I hope to prove your judgment to be sound. I'd like to thank the NZSA for doing such urgent and necessary work on behalf of the writing community in Aotearoa. And thanks very much to Vanda Simon for your sage advice on my other manuscript. I promise it's still in the works. Thanks to William Brandt at the IIML and Tim Clark at Rathkill College for the early encouragement, and to Pete Bayliss at Wainuiaru School for the really early encouragement. Thanks also to Dragan Todorovic, Amy Sackville, Yelena Moskovich, and Adam Biles of Kent University for helping me figure out what I really mean to say. Thanks to my many polite friends for reading versions of this and other draft novels and stories, and for always being kind enough to point out the rubbish. Thanks to my whānau, Mum and Andrew, Dad and Bid, my horde of siblings, and my aunts and uncles all over the world. I miss you a lot. Most of all, thank you very much to my late grandmother, Pamela Warner, for putting so many books in front of my tiny face, and to my wife, Diani, for only reading my stuff when it's truly worthy of your time. Gigi Fenster, we haven't met, but your book sounds great. Thanks again.
Congratulations again, Tom. We can't wait to publish Paper Cage in about a year from now. I know that you've already started working with Mandy Brett, your editor at Text. This is my cue to remind you all, get working on those manuscripts, pull them out of the bottom drawer, enter the Michael Gifkins Prize next year. Thanks again to everyone for all of their hard work to make this possible. Sophie Mannix at Text, Kate Lloyd, Steph Italia and others. And this is normally where I say let's all eat, drink and be merry on the publisher's dime, but unfortunately all the eating and drinking and being merry will have to be at your own expense this year. But the whole thing has gone off like a Catherine wheel, so we can't wait to be back next year with a new winner of the Michael Gifkins Prize.